What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of What You Doing with Kimmy Dole. And of course, I'm Kimmy Dole, and today I'm so happy because I have one of my good friends, Arianna Rose. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Now, you are a woman that is kind of a Jack or Jane of all trades. You're an entrepreneur, you have several businesses. So tell me a little bit about them and how you even got started and what it is exactly that you do.
Sure. Good question. I like that, a Jane of all trades. Definitely applies for me. I started out kind of figuring out things in my life that I was good at and didn't really understand the path that I was on. And now looking back at those times, I understand that I was kind of making steps along the way to lead me to where I am today. But overall, my journey actually started with a transformational health shift. I lost like 100 pounds about, I don't know how long, 12 years ago or something like that. And it kind of unlocked this piece within me that had me understand that I was in charge of all of the outcomes in my life. And that led me down this path of realizing that the paycheck life wasn't for me. I wanted more freedom and the ability to, make my own schedule and make my own money and that sort of thing. And started doing what I was called to do, which is personal development coaching with individuals, which has now developed into business coaching that I do with entrepreneurs and small business owners, working with people to discover and uncover those pieces of the same journey that I found within myself.
That's amazing. So even when I met you, I had no idea that you were someone that lost like 100 pounds. Just because knowing the kind of lifestyle and you're pretty active and you work out. I remember seeing like some of your pictures and I was like, wow, like I would have never guessed. So in order to even just make that change, that first step into transformation like that, what kind of mindset did you have, not only going into it, but actually following through?
Ooh, such a good question. You're getting right into the meat of it. That's the
Yes.
best. That was the pivotal point for me. I don't know what caused it. I refer to it as an epiphany because that was the feeling. I was struck all at once with an overwhelming emotional reaction to realizing. It was like the awareness came down on me all at once. So for people in general, it is the first phase of awareness. You have to become, you have to acknowledge the need for something to change in your life. And what that requires first is that friction of being like, I don't love this. Like there's some turmoil within me. Like I lived in a place for a long time where my health and my fitness habits were causing turmoil within me, but I wasn't strong enough within myself to actually recognize it and acknowledge it and say it out loud. So that's kind of like a two-part thing. Like it's feeling that awareness, and then it's actually like recognizing it, saying it to yourself, understanding that you need to change. And then the second piece that follows that, which I think is what most people really wonder, is how do you actually stick with it? Fitness is such a up and down, on the wagon, off the wagon type thing for people. And the first thing that I recommend to people is don't try to do what other people tell you should be doing. Find creative solutions that fit for you. So I see a lot of people trying to work out in the way that they see people on Instagram or see people in the gym or whatever. Do the thing that feels right for you. Some people love taking classes that are led. Some people love running outside. Do the thing that intuitively feels right, and it will make it so much easier. It takes 60 to 90 days to actually create the neural pathways within your brain to form a lasting habit. And so what that means is we have to actually just stick with it sometimes. And the easiest way to do that is to take small bites every single day. And so what I do when I work with clients is I actually reverse engineer a goal. And what that means is we take the big goal, I want to lose 100 pounds. And if we say you have 1 year to lose it, you can like do the math on that goal. So you can say 100 pounds in 12 months. That equals this number of pounds per month, this number of pounds per week, and to be losing, 3 to 5 pounds every month I need to be working out this many days. And then what you actually find is that you can be doing 10 to 20 minutes a day of a certain activity, a very small percentage of your day. And when you stick with it day in and day out with just that tiny task, it creates monumental shifts in your life over a long period of time.
The way that you kind of attack a task is sort of breaking it down so that it doesn't seem overwhelming, right? Right. So, in order to get the outcomes in life that you want, what are some of the steps that people should take?
What I find when I speak with a lot of people is that many people actually don't have certain directions in their life that they're headed. They might, again, they might like feel the friction, they might know that they want some change, but they haven't pulled themselves together enough to really announce what they want to do. Oftentimes this is a defense mechanism in a way, because if we announce it to ourselves, or even more scary, if we announce it to somebody else,
Yeah,
and
become
then we,
real.
yeah, and if you fail, then like you fail, and like you're really, really letting yourself or someone else down. If we never really claim it, then we can kind of just like fly under the radar for our lives and not really ever have to take responsibility for anything.
Right.
That only works so well because you totally get stuck in this like middle ground of not really making a decision and not doing badly, but certainly not pushing yourself into growth and change. So I actually look at 7 areas of life. These are kind of the key areas for people to focus in, and it has to do with your relationships, it has to do with your fitness, your finances, your contribution to society and the legacy that you're actually building, and a couple other things. And those elements are the key pieces of who we are as humans. And when you set one simple one sentence goal in those 7 areas of life, you'll see that it actually lifts a weight off your shoulders. It gives you a little bit of direction without too much pressure.
How do you set a proper goal then? One that is not only achievable, but one that you're able to have like sub goals and just hit those marks until you get to that final goal.
That takes, what happens with people when they look at something really big, they get analysis paralysis. They freak out. Their brain starts making up all of the reasons of why they don't have the proper resources. I don't have the time for this. I don't have the money. I don't have the energy. I don't have the right relationships or network. And all of that stuff is besides the point. If you align yourself in one direction, and again, you can make a big goal that gets adjusted along the way, but if you start chipping away at it day after day, you vibrationally are aligning with that outcome. And so things start to sort themselves out and line up in your best favor in regards to that. You're putting your energy into something, and where energy goes, something grows. One of the things I love to do with people is to create what is called a freedom metric, which is like, how much money would you be earning every month to be living a lifestyle of financial freedom? So you cover all of your expenses and debt that you have, and some play money. So just an example of that, if you set your freedom metric is $30,000 a month, let's say,
Yeah.
you could set that as your bigger goal, and then set your milestones along the way. If my first milestone is to be making, let's say, 5,000 a month, what are my services that I sell, or what are my, I'm speaking about entrepreneurs specifically, but what increase in capital do I need to create in my life? Maybe you have a job and you could create a side hustle or something. What do I need to do to reach that first benchmark of 5,000? And then you can break it down. I sell a $20 product. I need to sell this many units every single month to reach a $5,000 goal, this many units a week, this many units a day. And so again, then what I've done is taken this big goal of 30,000, broken it down into chunks, start with 5,000 a month, break that down into how much I need to sell a day, and adjust from there. Once you've met 5,000, kick it up a notch, move it up. And so what you start to see over time is that you are always living life with a new kind of landmark on the horizon with you, if you will, in every direction. So you would have those types of goals, a 30,000 a month type of big picture goal.
Mhm.
You would have those types of goals set in each area of your life. You have a list of, let's say, 7, if you're following my strategy, you have a list of 7 categories of simple 5 to 30-minute tasks that you just have to do every day. It takes the thought out of it. It takes the overthinking out of it. It takes the fear out of it. It takes the lack of resources out of it, because all I've done is formulated a tiny little task that I do over and over and over again until I look back and see all of the progress that I've made.
I like that, because then that way you're not overwhelmed, and then you along the way have now created a habit, and it kind of becomes like second nature almost. So that's pretty cool.
Exactly. And those are the things that you've determined are your priorities in life. Like, those are the things that you want to be putting your energy into.
One of the scariest things is just taking that first step from an idea to actually, creating a business. What's a piece of advice that you would give to someone just starting out?
This touches on a couple of things. One of the things that I will say is that in life, we know we're moving in the right direction if you get comfortable with living in the uncomfort. And so what that means
So
is, if
good.
you're feeling, like if you're feeling a little, now there's a difference between uncomfort and turmoil, right? There's a difference between feeling like you're grinding against yourself and feeling like, whoa, I'm moving forward into an unknown space. It feels good and it feels right, but it feels a little unsure. I've never been here before.
Right.
You actually have to enter that unknown space to create new outcomes in your life. If we continue to do the same thing and use the same strategies we used today and yesterday and 5 years ago, you can only create the same results from those strategies.
Right.
So if I have something that I want to change, I literally have to change. It's inevitable. Unfortunately, it's the thing that we all fear, because you are made as
The
a
C word, change.
yeah, and we are hardwired to avoid it, to stay alive, really. But if you want to create a life, what some people call it is a WFA life, which is work from anywhere. But ultimately what it means, instead of just working from anywhere, it means that you can work in whatever capacity you'd like. It allows you to stop trading time for money, for example, which is a really beautiful thing. Like, if I can be receiving money and not having to be literally working by the minute for that money, it really removes the cap on what's possible in your life. These are the types of big life changes that you should never feel ready for it. You should just take the leap. Now, there are ways to do that to keep yourself, stable and like an adult that can buy groceries and that sort of thing.
Right.
But which is important. I'm not recommending that you
Right.
just throw your whole life away. But if there's something that's really a calling for you, the paycheck of a job shouldn't be the thing that keeps you in that place. You should start to discover that and see what are the reasons of why you're being called in that direction. I always recommend, if you have a job that you're working currently, do your hustle as a side hustle. Start to do it and start to see if you enjoy it. Entrepreneurship is something that today is super glamorized, and the work from anywhere lifestyle looks amazing. The freedom of that lifestyle there is nothing like it. It is absolutely amazing. And it also comes with a whole bunch of headaches that many people don't have when they work a job. When you also understanding that being uncomfortable will be a part of the process forever.
You've also managed to build something with your partner.
Yeah.
That's something that it's not for everyone. How do you know that building with your significant other is the correct thing?
Okay, also, so your questions are so great, Kimmy. I'm loving this. So you won't know until you try. That's the long short of it. You definitely won't know until you try, and it is definitely not something that is for everyone. One of the things that I have been been very blessed in my relationship with is that we align in a lot of very complementary ways, and we are actually polar opposites in a lot of complementary ways as well. And because of that, it allows a really unique type of partnership that is conducive to us being around each other all the time and having to deal with the back and forth of business and that sort of thing, which really isn't easy. I've been with my partner for like 10 years. Actually, it's about to be the 11th year, but it's a
Congrats.
long time. Yes, it's a long time. And so what that means is that we spent a lot of time before we were in business together learning how to communicate with each other. That's the core of everything. If you know how to speak to someone, no matter what mood they're in and no matter what headache or fire has arisen, you know that you will be able to operate that with that person in that multitude of in that multitude of situations that you come across. But there is like one thing that I would say, which is that you guys have to know how to, it's almost like knowing how to argue well, if you will, like knowing how to navigate conflict well with that other person. And it's something that only takes practice. It's something that is kind of glorified in a way. Like people are like, oh, you are partners and you work together. That's so amazing. And it's not always the right choice for people. It definitely is something that you'd have to see if the business fits for both of you guys. I know some people where partners, there's kind of one main role, and then there's some partners that play like a supporting role to back up their partner who's kind of more in the spotlight. And I've seen that work really well for people too.
Knowing when to cut off business and now you're back into your relationship, or is it something that it's just always going to be meshed?
So I think that is also differing depending on who you're speaking with.
Right.
For us, we like to categorize. It's really how we both run our own personal businesses and we run the business together and we help each other run our own businesses. So it's really helpful to keep the conversations where they need to be. We actually get on each other's schedules. So if we have something that needs to be done, we will make sure that we set aside time to speak about that thing specifically, get it handled, and not have to have it be mixed in with personal time. I think it's Gary Vee maybe who said that you are a firefighter. Your job is literally to put out fires at all times of the day. And so there are situations that arise that have to be addressed right in the moment, and that can become something that's stressful for people. If I'm getting interrupted on my self-care time because there's an emergency over at the business, that's a dynamic that has to be worked out. We both know, even if it was like relaxy, hang out on the couch, snuggle time, and something comes up, neither of us take it personally. So
Right.
that's helpful too. Don't take it personally. That would be one piece I would say is like, there's business and there's pleasure. And sometimes we have to have conversations in our business realm that you have to literally remind yourself, like, don't take it personally. This is business.
So far I've learned that change is very important, but that it also will not make you comfortable. But also communication is super, super important as well, especially if you're working with a significant other or even a friend or family member, whatever the case may be. Definitely communication is really, really important. All right, so if someone wants to reach out to you and they want to come to you with their business plan or just make changes in their life, how are they able to reach you?
Cool. I will talk to anybody anywhere. My Instagram is AR. I don't care. My Instagram is AR.ROO. I'm Arianna Rose. And my email address is hello@ariannarose.coach. So that's ARIANNA ROSE.coach. And that's also the website is www.ariannarose.coach. I do a lot of talking with people where even if we're not working together, I love to see the things that people are passionate for and what they're excited to create their life around. I love to give creative solutions to problems that people are facing. I love to help people further pull out that joy and passion in their life. So I'm open to speak with anyone about anything that's on their mind.
All right, well, you heard it. Just hit up Ari, and whatever issues you have going on, she can definitely help.
Yeah.
Definitely help solve that. And I think your positivity, just in that, like you said, you're willing to talk to anyone, and I think that positivity radiates, and people can tell that that's something genuine.
You stand out. See?
Okay.
That's it. There you go.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of What You Doing, Kimmy Dole. And now I know what you're doing. But thank you so much for joining me, and we'll catch up next time. Bye.